Prepare to be captivated by the extraordinary journey of Pakita, a magnificent brown dog with a heart full of love and an insatiable curiosity. From the depths of sadness in a shelter to the embrace of a caring community, her story is a testament to the power of compassion and second chances. In a world where animals are often overlooked, there was a dog named Pakita who experienced the highs and lows of life. From being stuck in a shelter for 2 long years to finding unexpected kindness, her story is one of resilience, love, and the power of second chances. In a bustling shelter amidst the noise and commotion, there lived a beautiful brown dog named Pakita. Days turned into months and months into years as she patiently waited for someone to notice her. The dog felt dejected. Then it detected the fragrance of a known person, and what followed will astound you. Pakita was followed by a stunning large brown dog. She had difficulty, even though she appeared to have a lot of chocolate lab in her blood. Despite the measures her owner took, she frequently got outside because she enjoyed exploring her surroundings, so this was never a major problem. When he was at work, she would leave, and when he got home, she would be back. He made an effort to keep her inside, but usually the neighbors would see her outside. They were aware that she was a sociable dog who enjoyed playing with everyone. Even though her owner, Ariel Navira, tried to keep her in the yard, children would toss a ball for her and others would leave out water and food so she was taken care of. On a yard leash, but as most Labrador owners know, they are seriously intelligent, so Pakita kept outwitting Ariel and eventually got out. Until one day, when Pakita was wandering around the neighborhood, she saw a squirrel and ran after it. She ran so much farther than she realized, and when she turned back, the area seemed foreign. She carried on strolling without realizing how far she had traveled from her house. The poor puppy was frightened and worn out. Knowing that her neighbors had always had water ready for her, she attempted to enter a couple of backyards, but this time, the occupants of the houses would just chase her away. Children playing outdoors when she tried to rush to them fled screaming as the big dog approached them. It must have been upsetting for the poor canine. Although these folks didn't know her, she was used to people caring about her. Many of the locals thought the dog was becoming a nuisance. One of them made the judgment that it would be best to have the brown dog removed. Since some children were hurling rocks at Pakita, they were concerned. The dog's continued presence in the neighborhood was getting dangerous. Pakita readily arrived at them once they called her. Then these individuals transported her to the Arca Animal Shelter, a wonderful facility that genuinely cares for the animals brought to it. The puppy immediately touched Sylvia Ferreira, one of the volunteers at the shelter. Pakita had dejected eyes, and by the time she arrived at the shelter, she had given up on people. When Sylvia tried to pet the once happy dog, she would only pull away and maintain her distance. The dog didn't want to form a bond with anyone at the shelter. Being extremely shy, Pakita didn't want to have another family. The shelter personnel, determined to help Pakita open up and find a loving home, tried various strategies. They would often introduce her to families who came to look for a dog, hoping that a connection could be made. But each time Pakita would refuse to play or get close. Instead, she would hide behind the shelter volunteers, seeking solace and protection, like a scared child hiding behind their mother. It was during these moments that she showed a glimmer of trust in her caretakers, but apart from those instances, she would avoid them as well. Time and time again, families would choose younger, more outgoing dogs over Pakita. It was disheartening for the shelter staff, who knew that behind her withdrawn exterior was a dog with immense love to give. For 2 long years, they tirelessly tried to socialize her, but Pakita remained resolute in her desire to be left alone. She had no interest in coming out of her shell, and with each passing day, her depression deepened. She was aware that her lost person was out there. Even though Pakita was quite reclusive, the staff at the shelter did their best to help the dog open up because she only needed to get home and wasn't looking for a new family. They fervently desired for her to be adopted. Every time they attempted to connect Pakita with a family who came to the shelter looking for a dog, Pakita refused to play with them or get near them. She would simply follow the worker at the shelter. But that was the only time she ever displayed trust in her caretakers. Otherwise, she would have introduced them like a fearful kid attempting to hide behind their mother. She also avoided them. The families frequently brought younger puppies or dogs that were simply nicer than Pakita. They attempted to socialize the dog for 2 years, but she remained uncooperative whenever Sylvia or one of the helpers attempted to pet her. Pakita would withdraw and sulk in the corner, seeking to minimize her size. This dog didn't enjoy interacting with people. She didn't want to come out of her shell. She just wanted to be left alone. After 2 years had gone by, Sylvia and her co-workers realized they needed to try something new as Pakita's depression worsened over time. They wished to draw Pakita attention on social media and draw visitors, particularly those who would adopt the dejected girl. They would let others know that she wasn't very social, and they would hope someone would be game to take her on. But every time they went to snap a photograph of her, they battled to even get a picture of her to upload. They wanted to take another photo even though she would tilt her head away and avoid eye contact, showing how dejected she was. To make someone fall in love with her, all it takes is one lovely photo of her lovely face. After much time and effort, they finally managed to capture one somewhat good shot. They shared it on their social media profiles in the hopes that it might motivate someone to adopt Pakita. They believed that if she lived in a home rather than a shelter, her depression might lessen. Pakita had one more chance to find a home, failing which she would have to live out the remainder of her days in the shelter, where she would receive care. But even after that, it would still be extremely depressing. When Ariel, Navarra's mother, viewed the post, she recognized it as Ariel's pup. She searched for Pakita for 2 years before deciding against getting a new dog. Ariel simply couldn't do it, since doing so would feel like giving up on Pakita. Ariel's mother, who was aware of how sad she was, looked through the social media accounts of various shelters in their city in the hopes that one day she would find Pakita in one of them. She had frequently gone out looking for the lost dog, but had never been successful. Now that she was certain the puppy she was seeing was their very own Pakita, she prayed for the best, but didn't really expect it to ever happen. The dog appeared much more dejected than what she lived with, yet it was she who made the initial call to the shelter, since her major worry was that. When she called, they would inform her that Pakita had already been adopted, but she was lucky because they were still thrilled to hear from her. Sylvia and the other volunteers sincerely wished that this would be a pleasant conclusion. It was a scary situation with an unpredictable outcome when Ariel heard that his mother believed she had found Pakita, but there were no guarantees. There was still a chance that Ariel and the mother would arrive at the shelter and discover that this wasn't their dog at all. Pakita might also have emotional scars from her years in the shelter, and she didn't recognize them. The next day, the two went to the shelter, where Pakita was brought out to meet them. However, things didn't go as planned. Someone was filming the encounter in the hopes that Pakita would be immediately happy to see her humans, but that didn't happen at all. It's important to keep in mind that this was a sad dog who was depressed and hurt. She might not have believed her own eyes when it appeared as though her fears were all coming true. Ariel was certain that this was their dog, but Pakita hid behind the shelter volunteer who had taken her outside in the same way she had with countless other families who had tried to adopt her. It didn't appear to recognize Ariel at all, although Ariel had just discovered the dog after 2 long years, during which the worst was feared. Ariel wasn't ready to give up just yet. Ariel would take the time to let Pakita know she was loved, even though she didn't recognize Ariel. Ariel crouched down in front of the dog and gently spoke her name. The sad dog disappeared within seconds and began jumping up and down and licking Ariel in the greeting. It was a really special reunion, and everyone in the area had tears in their eyes from seeing the love. Their bond was still there, and that bond would remain. Ariel gave an update more than a year after their reunion with Pakita. She never tried to get out again, and the situation was still the same. The reunion between Ariel and Pakita was a moment of pure joy and relief. Pakita's days of longing for a home were finally over. From that day forward, Ariel and Pakita lived a life filled with love, adventure, and the joy of being together. Pakita's days of loneliness and uncertainty were replaced with the warmth of a forever home. And so, the story of Pakita reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there's always hope. With love, compassion, and a second chance, every animal can find their own happily ever after. Hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.